thank you for joining us. This is our 19th virtual event. And each Wednesday we highlight a different region of the world with either a tourism board, a destination specialist, or with a travel partner that really knows the area and the product that we're featuring. And today we're featuring Ireland and Scotland. And who better to dive into the highlights than Brendan Vacations team members, Sarah Hamilton, who is the North America Sales Manager, and Catherine Reilly, the Managing Director, who incidentally is also joining us live from Ireland. So I'd also like to thank Catherine for staying up so late to host this webinar. And remember to stay on to, at the end of the webinar, we'll be going over the show offer that you can only get from us at Bon Voyage Travel. So with that, I will hand it over to Sarah and Catherine.
Hello everybody, greetings from Ireland. Céad Míle Fáilte, that's 100,000 welcomes, and that's how we really like to welcome all of our guests who travel with us to Ireland and Scotland. I'm very excited this evening, even though it's a little bit late over here, but I have been filling myself up with cups of tea so that I will stay awake and alert, but very excited and very happy to join Bon Voyage Travel, a great partnership Brendan have with this wonderful company for very, very many years. And we are delighted to be the 19th virtual presentation. So I'd like to also introduce my colleague, Sarah Hamilton. You'll see too that Sarah has an accent very similar to mine, but she's chatting to us this evening from New York. So good evening, Sarah.
Hello everyone, welcome. Yes, I'm from Ireland as well, just a wee small village up on the northeast of Ireland. So I'm so excited today to talk about some of the wonderful things we have to offer with Brendan Vacations.
So I suppose our message this evening is very, very simple. Brendan Vacations just do Ireland and Scotland. So when you think about Ireland and Scotland, think anything in a kilt, and then think about Brendan Vacations. And then all you need to do is contact Bon Voyage Travel and they'll set you straight. So this evening we're going to make sure that we give you some very, very good information about Ireland and Scotland. We also hope that you'll find it interesting and a little bit of fun. And we too want to introduce you to all our wonderful storytellers and characters, and have you thinking about Ireland or Scotland for your next vacation. So you've already met myself and Sarah. I happen to live in County Wicklow, which is about 15 miles south of Dublin. So I'm here in my home this evening. We're still working from home, most of us, during these uncertain times. But, you know, I'm normally behind our blue door in the center of Dublin. So my team and I work right here, right in the heart of Dublin, behind that blue door, where we conjure up these wonderful vacations, exciting itineraries to make sure all of you who join us have the best of times. And I suppose right now we're all thinking about these unreal circumstances we've found ourselves in. We are desperately missing our visitors to Ireland and Scotland. You know, I've been in the travel business for 35 years. And, you know, this year is the first time I've spent so much time in my home in all of that time, because I'm normally traveling. I'm over there in the United States, meeting with our partners like Bon Voyage Travel and trying to encourage as many wonderful guests to come and travel with us as possible. So it's you know, we're all just desperately waiting to roll out the green carpet again when it's safe for all of you to travel over and visit with us. And I suppose with that in mind, you know, we're very, very conscious, and always have been, of course, to be sure that, you know, your health and well-being are at the center of every single thing we do. So I suppose before we get started, and whilst you're planning your vacations, and we're waiting to welcome everybody back to Ireland and Scotland, we have, because of our experience, because we're right here in the heart of everything, we do know what's going on locally, and we will ensure that we are covering all of the protocols and making sure that when you travel with us, we will make that the best experience for you. And whether that's before you travel, as you're planning to travel, while you're with us, and you know, all of our partners will, you know, be very aware of the various different protocols, the hygiene, the distancing, you know, the all of the hotels and the transports we use are all gone through rigorous training. So you can be very, very assured that we're on top of things. And of course, we have our team on the ground here in Ireland that should anything happen, should any changes happen, we'll be aware of them. We make sure they happen in the background. You probably won't even notice. And in the unlikely event that anybody would feel unwell while traveling, we will make sure you get the correct attention. We will stick with you every step along the way and get you home safely. So that's our promise. But let's think now about being in Ireland and Scotland, and that's where we want to have you. Brendan Vacations are also part of a big family of travel family called the Travel Corporation. You may be familiar with other brands, you may have traveled with them in the past. Our sister brand like Trafalgar, Inside Vacations, Uniworld, our River Cruise Company, and of course Red Carnation Hotels, which we are very proud to have, probably one of their most award-winning properties right here in Ireland, called Ashford Castle. But a little bit more about that later on. But this family of brands back Brendan Vacations, they've been in the business for 100 years. So, you know, we're all in good company, and very, very well respected, and looking forward to many, many more years inviting guests all around the world, and particularly to Ireland and Scotland. So, you know, you can travel with confidence with us, and let's just move on into the presentation, knowing that, you know, we have covered everything, and, you know, we can't wait to just bring people back to our homelands. Like I said at the beginning, you know, we want to introduce you to so many of these wonderful characters. We are a nation of storytellers, and hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll hear some tales from both Sarah and I that will maybe bring a smile to your face, but certainly encourage you to think about Ireland and Scotland. And when you visit Ireland and Scotland, you'll be assured to bring home some very, very good stories, because it's all about the characters you're going to meet. Yes, we will have you stay in wonderful accommodations. Yes, we will take you from place to place with great transport, but it's really about the local connections that we will introduce you to, and the great characters every step of the way. We've been in business for very, very many years, and we practically know everybody in both Ireland and Scotland, and we can't wait to share our stories with you, and you in turn then will come back to your home having wonderful stories and memories to share with your family. So I suppose it's now time to just let you know about the different type of travel styles. When I said earlier, you know, just think about Brendan Vacations, Ireland and Scotland, and anything in a kilt. The other thing you need to remember is that we have a travel style for everybody. So, you know, Sarah is now going to take you through some of those travel styles. So over to you, Sarah.
Thank you, Catherine. So yeah, as Catherine mentioned, we're anything in a kilt. So no matter where or how you want to travel, sure, we have you covered. from guided to fully customizable. You want to do private chauffeur, a locally hosted rail, you want to get behind the wheel yourself and do a self-drive or a luxury self-drive, we have you covered. And I'm going to go through each of these travel styles and what kind of experiences that we can offer while you come to our magical lands. Now, if you look at this photo here, you might recognize it. It's the beautiful Cliffs of Moher. And you see all these little different characters. Maybe you're like myself and you're a bit of a taste enthusiast. You like your food, you like to taste those wonderful flavors while in the destination. You might have a list of things you want to cross off while you're there. You might be traveling with family or celebrating a birthday, an anniversary, a milestone. Also while taking in the culture. We have something for absolutely everyone who wants to come to Ireland or Scotland. Now, a great way to travel and my personal way to travel is with family. And now my mammy is celebrating a big birthday this year. And I won't tell you what birthday it is because if she finds out I said her age, she would not be happy. So we are going to go celebrate and we're thinking that we're going to do a beautiful family vacation with my nieces, my nephews, my brothers, my mum and dad. So have a multi-generational celebration of an anniversary, of a milestone in my mammy's life. So we're getting the whole clan together and we're going to go around Ireland on a private chauffeur. So this is great if you're thinking you want to go and see the nitty-gritty places in Ireland or Scotland, or maybe those iconic sites and really dive into culture. You sit back and relax. You come and go as you please. You're going to have a skilled storyteller, a driver with you every step of the way for the private chauffeur. So we will map out everything for you along with your fabulous advisor for Bon Voyage. You want to go and see all those iconic sites, but have those exclusive experiences as well that we can offer. We can do that for you. So you want to get into those nitty gritty wee villages where it's like where I'm from, where there's 3 pubs and 25 houses. We will take you there. You can stay in any type of accommodations, from B&Bs, castles, manors, hotels. We will do it all for you. And our driver and your chauffeur driver is incredible. And I'm just sending out a wee word of warning. You're going to fall madly in love with them and you won't be able to take them back home with you. They are that magnificent. As I said, we're going to stay in some of the most amazing properties, and one that we love and is so special to Ireland is Ashford Castle. So this is an 800-year-old castle that has amazing stories to tell. So for example, guess who used to own this castle? The Guinness family. And we actually now, the Travel Corporation, purchased it and restored it back to its natural beauty. It is stunning. So you can come and stay here, do some falconry, enjoy the beautiful grounds. Loch Corrib is there. So all these properties we can build into your experience and your itinerary when you come to Ireland and Scotland, and Ashford Castle, just to name one. While you're there and you're walking through those beautiful, beautiful grounds, you might want to visit the oldest falconry school in Ireland and do a falconry experience. So we can add these experiences, exclusive high-touch experiences to your itinerary. Now just picture this majestic hawk coming and landing on your perch. It is a perch of your arm. It is something that should not be missed. So we can add this into your experience while in Ireland in the Ashford Castle doing the falconry. And this is just an example. So we have many different activities that you would love to do while you're celebrating a milestone or traveling with family. We have something for everyone, and we want to make sure it's personal to you and absolutely amazing. Now you might have seen this word before. Salancha is Irish for cheers or to your health. The Celtic culinary scene in Ireland and Scotland has drastically changed over the last number of years. I was raised on boiled potatoes, meat, veggies, and my potatoes reboiled. But the food now is amazing. And of course the drink, we are known for maybe enjoying a tipple or two. So you can go to the distilleries, you can visit a Michelin star restaurant, or have a local authentic hole in the wall experience food. So really, if you're a taste enthusiast, you want to have a pint of Guinness, or maybe you want some gin. So gin was viewed in Ireland as something as old-fashioned back in the day, but then kind of like just sprung out of nowhere in the UK and France, and people fell madly in love with it. And there's gin distilleries all around Ireland that you can visit. I know, Catherine, this is one of your favourite gins, if you want to tell this sweet story.
Yeah. Yes, the resurgence of the various different distilleries has been fantastic in Ireland, and it started off with the resurgence of whiskey and new whiskey distilleries growing up throughout both Ireland and Scotland. And it takes some years to distill a good whiskey. So some of these young artisans, in order to get the funding to get their whiskies distilled, they started out with distilling both either gin or vodka. It takes less time to distill either of these drinks, so they would do that. And this particular gin, it's called Gunpowder Gin, really a cool name, started in a shed in Drumshambo in County Leitrim. And this place is just this tiny little place. You now can go visit there, and we do take people there to visit Drumshambo in this tiny little village, like I said. And they were lucky enough to get their gunpowder gin introduced into Ashford Castle. And of course, you know, this is the most famous hotel in Ireland, such an award-winning property. They produced the gunpowder gin in this beautiful blue bottle, and then of course Ashford serve it in these wonderful glasses that look like fish bowls, and they use all these wonderful different fruits and other ingredients to bring out the taste of the gin. And also then they have a variety of different tonics. It's not just your regular old tonic water anymore either. There's various different types of tonic water that accompany these gins. So, you know, we have become now gin experts, and in some of our hostilleries, even in the local pubs, you will find gin menus with these wonderful names like Gunpowder Gin. So if you come and visit Ashford Castle, I challenge you to get out of there without tasting a Gunpowder Gin. So launch it to that, and hopefully you'll get to taste a gin or two while you're visiting Ireland.
I love it. It's definitely one of my favourites to do when I'm in Ashford Castle. Another, talking about our private chauffeur, maybe want to go to Scotland and have an exclusive tour in Edinburgh Castle. Or maybe you want to do a Doom, Dead and Buried experience that we have, where you go underground in Edinburgh and you hear the stories and meet a local specialist. And these unique experiences that we can offer all throughout Ireland and Scotland, those exclusive high-touch experiences when you are doing the private chauffeur. Anywhere you want to go, we can make it happen. And if you want to stay in different kind of properties, castles, hotels, manors, you want to mix and match them all, we will do that all for you. And maybe you want to have a wee tee off in Ireland or Scotland. We have some of the most amazing, beautiful golf courses in Ireland and Scotland. They say that Scotland is the home of golf, but the Irish perfected it. Oh, I'm joking. I like to say a little dad joke every now and then. But really, we can organize this. If you have golfers, you want to golf, and all you got to do is bring your wee shoes. We'll organize the golf clubs, the time, the tee times, and the beauty of doing a golf experience with Brendan Vacations is that maybe you're traveling with family, a group of friends. Some people want to golf, the other half don't. Because it's with a private chauffeur, we can send the golfers off for the day and they can go and have a great day playing golf, and the rest of the clan can go, or the group of friends can go and enjoy the beautiful Celtic Isles. So really, it's a wonderful way to tee off in Ireland or Scotland, and we will organize that with you, with your amazing advisor for a bon voyage. Very excited to launch. We have a new travel style this year. Now, this is where you're thinking of those exclusive high-touch luxury points I was talking about in the chauffeur, but you're driving yourself in a luxury car. I want you to close your eyes for 2 wee seconds, and I want you to Sit back and envision yourself driving through the glens of Antrim, over the wild Atlantic Way and the rugged edge of Ireland, and you're seeing 40 shades of green, all while driving a luxury car. And this is a great way to see Ireland. So we can map everything for you, those exclusive experiences we talked about, and maybe stay in castles, hotels, B&Bs, manors, wherever you want to stay, we will do all that for you, and you're driving yourself. So we're going to meet these characters along the way. And of course, we want to dive into culture and see these iconic sites, like the wonderful, wonderful Mark Rogers here up in the Giant's Causeway. Mark, you can go with a local specialist, Mark, and go and hear the stories of the Giant's Causeway. He is a historian, a storyteller, and this has been in his families for generations, where they bring you down and you hear their stories and also the stories of the Giant's Causeway up in County Antrim. Now, we have many, many folklore stories when it comes to Ireland and Scotland, but the story about the Giant's Causeway is definitely my favourite. I'm going to take a wee minute of your time and I'm going to tell you a wee folklore story. There was a giant up in Northern Ireland and his name was Finn McCool. Now, he had a rival over in Scotland called Benindonnan. Now, between the tip of Ireland and over to Scotland, it's not that very far, it's about 12 miles. So they built a causeway from Northern Ireland to Scotland because the two giants were going to fight. So the Irish giant Finn McCool set on his way, proudly stomping across over to Scotland to fight Benindonnan. Now, didn't he get one look at the Scottish giant and said, "Whoa, no, he is absolutely massive. I cannot fight him. I have to go home. I don't know what I'm going to do." So he goes back to Northern Ireland to his wife, Una, and he tells Una, I'm terrified. The Scottish giant is absolutely massive. I don't know what I'm going to do. So his wife, Una, thought for a moment, okay, I've got a plan. I'm going to dress you as a baby and stick you in the bed. He said, dress me as a baby and put me in the bed. I said, yep. So he did what he said and then did what she said, knock on the door. Came the Scottish giant. And he roars to Una, I'm here to fight the Irish giant Finn McCool. Una is calm. She was so calm and she just said, sorry, there's no Finn McCool here. All I have is my sleeping baby. So the Scottish giant scowled and took a look around the corner and saw the sleeping baby, which was Finn McCool dressed as a baby. And he said, if that's the size of the baby, I don't want to see the size of the father. And he ran back to Scotland, chipping away at the causeway, causing this formation. He was that terrified. So that's how that formation was caused in up in the Giant's Causeway. Now, scientists believed it was from volcanic activity, yada, yada, yada. But we now know the real story, the folklore story, that it was the giant Benindonnan and Finn McCool. Now, I love these stories, but this one in particular, because behind every man, there's a strong and smart woman. So you'll hear these stories, you'll hear many, many stories when you have those, meet our local specialists and have that local connection to Ireland and Scotland. I know, we are known for enjoying a tipple or two. Of course, we're the home of Guinness. And we have the beautiful Guinness Storehouse where you can go and do a Connoisseur Guinness Storehouse experience on our Lux self-drive. So that exclusive high-touch experience. Learn how to pour that perfect pint of Guinness. Oh, how I miss me pints of Guinness. They taste so much different at home. I miss the flavours of home. I miss the taste of home. And one thing in particular is my mammy's brown bread. And I know, Catherine, your friend Tracy, makes one of the best soda breads that there is, next to my mammy's.
Yes, Sarah. This is Tracy, and another way where we can be sure to introduce you, our guests, to the locals. And here on Strangford Lough, a beautiful place, not too far from Belfast, where you can go to Tracy's home and meet her and her family, and she will show you and let you participate in making brown bread or soda bread in the traditional way. She bakes it on a griddle rather than in an oven. And if you have extra time to spend there, you can have lunch with Tracy. She'll introduce you to some other locals, to the fishermen that are on the loch beside where she lives. But it's really a wonderful experience. And, you know, we encourage everybody, you know, when they're traveling with us, to be sure and include these wonderful characters and experiences into your trip, because, you know, they're going to make that difference. They're going to create the memories, and, you know, and just the tastes and the passion that Tracy has for her craft will stay with you when you go home.
Yes, she does. She's amazing, and honestly, such good brown bread. Can't wait to have some again. So I'm going to move on for our next travel styles. We've talked the chauffeur and the luxury self-drive, and we're going to talk about traveling through Ireland or Scotland via rail. So this is known as locally hosted rail, as we like to call it, where you will meet a Brendan specialist, a friend in that destination when you arrive at your hotel in each city you visit. So I like to say it's like traveling alone, but you're never on your own. So for example, maybe you're going to arrive in Dublin, see Cork, and go down to Killarney and then fly out of Shannon. In each of those cities, you will meet a local Brendan specialist. They will sit with you for an hour, 2 hours, however long you need, and they'll give you all the documentation. They're from the place, they know it inside out. They're there to tell you all the best places to go, what to do, see and eat while you're there. And then when you're done, an hour, 2 hours, however long, they will say, okay, there's my number. You're on your own, but you're never alone. Call me anytime. So you have that independent traveling throughout the city to enjoy it, but also the security of knowing a Brendan specialist is there when you need it. Then you'll hop on the train again, you go to your next destination, and you meet your next Brendan specialist while you're there, your Brendan local host. And they're there, your friend in that destination. Meet you at the hotel, any questions you have, and then again, get off to explore on your own. So it's a great way to travel, having that independence, but also that wee security. And unique to Brendan, we are very small, wee isles, and we don't have the railway everywhere. So in places that we cannot visit via train, we get the chauffeurs to come and pick you up, so you can stay in different types of accommodations, and maybe you want to splurge and stay at a castle for your last night. And again, it's about connecting you with the wonderful Celtic spirit and the people of Ireland and Scotland. Maybe you love hiking, you can meet the fabulous Linda down in Killarney National Park, and absolutely it's majestic, it's beautiful. Or else maybe you want to have a wee tipple over in Scotland and you have the Scotch whiskey experience. Please don't do the driving travel style if you're going for the Scotch whiskey experience. And then of course we have amazing food, as I talked about, like the fabulous Sheena. And I know that Sheena is a very good friend of yours, Catherine. She's amazing, right?
Yes, and I suppose not only when we're introducing you to the various characters around Ireland and Scotland too, you also will benefit from, you know, meeting these local communities, but also from supporting local communities and supporting somebody like Sheena, who would have decided a number of years ago that she wanted to work in her local town, she wanted to work with her local community, and she started these food tours. And there are now probably food tours in most of our towns and cities, where you can meet somebody like Sheena, and she will introduce you to local artisans, local food producers. And, you know, it's a real farm to fork experience. And, you know, you're helping sustain these communities by, you know, participating in these local arts and tourist projects. So Sheena will take you around Galway, her city, and introduce you to some of, you know, you could maybe come out at lunchtime, so she will take you to a pub and you can have some different samples of food. And then, you know, she'll take you along maybe then to try out some desserts, and then to a chocolate shop. And then one of my favorites is she'll take you to what we call cup on tea, which is really a cup of tea, but she brings you to this tea house. And, you know, you will be served afternoon tea, you know, with all of the trimmings, and it's absolutely wonderful. But they also make sure that you can put some fancy hats on, and you will have lovely china and great photo opportunities, Insta moments. So, you know, do be sure to enjoy them. But it's supporting all the local craftsmen and craftswomen that really adds to the enjoyment. And it's, you know, it's really a give back experience as well. So, you know, it's a win-win for both the community and Sheena's friends and other artisans, and for our guests to be able to meet up with each other and share these experiences.
Yeah, she's wonderful. Another one of my favorite foods to have if you're in Dublin or anywhere in the country is Murphy's ice cream. Got to check that out too. Another fabulous taste that you'll have on these food tours as well. So let's move on to our next travel style, and this is where you're driving on your own on the self-drive. We'll map everything out for you. Nitty-gritty places, those iconic sites, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to see, and you'll be driving yourself. So it's not just getting those accommodations and, you know, mapping it out. We also want to connect you to those experiences, as we've talked about throughout this presentation. And working with your amazing advisor and our team in Dublin, we will be able to do that for you. And we have an amazing relationship with your advisors for Bon Voyage. I always like to say that the Irish put the story in history, and they're telling our story every day. And for that, we're so thankful. So they're amazing. And, you know, if you're maybe a bit of a Game of Thrones fan, you can go and do that up in Northern Ireland. We like to call people who go and visit these iconic scenes from movies set jetters. They come in and see these amazing places. So this is a really cool experience. You go to Winterfell, you put on the keep, and it's really a fabulous experience. So we can organize this for you as well if you want to do that on your trip. So anywhere you want to go, if you want to do those experiences we talked about, creating those memories and making sure it's personal to you. Our last travel style is our guided vacations. And this is where you sit back, relax. We take care of everything for you. We have different itineraries available. Ireland, Northern Ireland, Ireland and Northern Ireland, Scotland, you can do both. And it's all about traveling with ease and joy. So we will take care of everything. You see those iconic sites, go and kiss that Blarney Stone. You want to really delve into culture and see the fabulous Book of Kells, or you want to stay in properties that have stories to tell, like the Great Killarney or Ashford Castle. We have something for you on any one of these trips, whatever suits you. But what I love about our guided experiences is that we connect you with the locals. For example, you have a Be My Guest experience where the local Irish or Scottish family will invite you into their home and you break bread with them, listen to the stories. This is the family over in Loch Ard, and they tell stories of Rob Roy over in Scotland. The sun welcome you playing the bagpipes, or down and you go and meet Maeve and Joe O'Connell and hear the story of the lost town of Newtown Durn-Point. So these wonderful experiences where you go into an Irish or Scottish person's home, and I always say it's like coming into my home on a Saturday night where we have 30 first cousins, we all sing, play an instrument, and we have a tipple or two, and it's just a good fun. So I love that you can have those experiences on our guided vacation. So Catherine, over to you. I'm going to let you close this out for us.
All right, well, I hope everybody has enjoyed listening to some tales from Ireland and Scotland. You know, like I said, we're very, very, we're just waiting patiently to be able to invite everybody back again. I suppose when you think about Ireland and Scotland, just have a look at this picture in front of you, and you know, and think about the wonderful Celtic scenes, and you know, the great and wide open spaces, and you know, they're both small destinations, so traveling from one place to another doesn't take all of that long. But it really is too in a time when, you know, you might want to be in the great outdoors, and you know, we're very, very sparsely populated. We've lots and lots of sheep and other, you know, wonderful small country lanes for you to get lost in, and lost in a nice way. So just think about Ireland and Scotland for when you're ready to travel again. So I suppose we have like easy messaging, anything in a kilt, you know, any way you want to travel. We have a travel style for everybody, and we're a nation of storytellers, and we want our story to mingle with yours. We want to weave it into your tapestry of stories, so when you go back home, you will have great memories to share. And whether for whatever reason you want to come visit in Ireland, maybe you have already got Irish ancestry or Scottish ancestry, but whether you have or you don't have, you will feel a connection, and I promise you, you will have the best of times. So, Gorov Mila Mahagat, that means thank you in our native Gaelic. And I'm going to pass you back to Catherine now and answer any questions, and Sarah will help me. And if I don't know the answer, we'll certainly find out and get it for you.
Thank you guys so much. I don't know if it's your knowledge of the area or those beautiful accents, but I can feel the Irish energy. I love it. It's fantastic. But before we get to those questions, let me go ahead and let everyone know the show offer, which I know everyone's excited about. So if you book a Brendan Vacations with Bon Voyage Travel in the next 7 days, you will receive $100 savings per person. And if you book within the next 30 days, it's $50 per person savings. So definitely connect with a Bon Voyage Travel advisor, or if you don't have an advisor, go to bvtravel.com and call us directly and we'll set you up, get you all of those details. So definitely look into that. So we do have a few questions that came through. We'll start with, we had a couple questions on the guided vacations. One being, in a guided vacation, is there going to be time for free time, their own leisure time?
Yeah, yes, there is. We really like to make sure that we have a balance of, you know, making sure that everybody gets to see the iconic sites when they're on a guided vacation, but also that there is time, you know, to explore on your own. Because, for example, we don't include dinners every evening, and that gives you an opportunity, you know, to go out by yourself or with your new friends that you might make while traveling, and go to a local restaurant or pub for dinner. So that's one of the examples. The other thing too is, you know, on lots of days, you know, you're spending 2 nights in a destination, and, you know, sometimes you might feel, oh, I'd like to take a day out from the rest of the trip, and maybe, you know, do something like go play golf because you happen to be in Scotland or in Ireland, or whatever other interest you might have. And don't feel you are going to miss out on something. Of course you are, but you're going to gain as well. So there's always free time, yes.
Great. And actually, speaking of golf, another question did revolve around that. It says, are you able to build self-driving itineraries that include several golf outings along with guided events or visits?
Yes, we include golf on both our chauffeur trips and our luxury self-drive trips. And the reason, I suppose, we put them in at that level is because there's a lot of organizing on, you know, booking tea times. And, you know, when you have guests, and I know the golfers amongst us this evening will realize, you know, sometimes the golf is the most important part of the trip. So we often have to book the golf first and then build the itinerary around it. So, you know, for that reason, we like to be sure that they have that particular style of travel, so that they can have additional support while traveling. Because obviously with the chauffeur, they will have somebody with them every step of the way. But if they're on a luxury self-drive trip, we will have them meet with a local host at the beginning of the trip, who will be sure that the guests are very, very aware of how the time or the distance it is from the accommodations they're staying at to the tee box, so that, you know, they'll allow themselves that amount of time to get there, etc. So it's those simple little touches that we want to ensure happens to make it all seamless.
Perfect. We've talked a lot, you all have talked a lot about Ireland and Scotland, obviously. Is it best to do both at the same time, or would you recommend breaking them up into 2 separate vacations?
It really depends, Catherine, on how much time the guest has. You know, if somebody just has a few days, I would say choose one or the other, you know. But also, if you have enough time, and you probably need 2 weeks to do both countries, you know, to have a reasonable amount of time in both countries. And of course, if you have that kind of time, you are, you know, being able then to take the benefit of the large airfare in just one, you know, because it's, you know, it's a short journey between Ireland and Scotland. Like Sarah said, at one point, it's only about 12 miles, but you can, you know, if you're on a guided trip, you know, the coach will come across the from Scotland to Ireland, or vice versa. On chauffeur trips, we recommend people to take the short flight, because, you know, we recommend that our guests have a Scottish chauffeur while in Scotland, just because of the storytelling and everything, and an Irish chauffeur when they're in Ireland. The 2 of them will communicate, so, you know, there won't be any difficulties in pickups or anything like that, but you know, that's probably the best way to do it.
Okay, great. For a first-time traveler to Ireland, what would you suggest seeing, and what type of travel style?
You know, guided is always a very good travel style for a first-timer, because, you know, they get to be with the travel director, who will give them, you know, the advice and you know, the information as they travel around. Self-drive is also good too, or locally hosted rail, because again, they will have the benefit of a local host in each area. I suppose the benefit too of traveling to Ireland or Scotland as a first-timer is, and maybe even as a first time traveling internationally, is that we speak English, albeit with a funny accent, you know. You know, so that makes it easier. We do get a lot of travelers who will take a guided trip for maybe a week, and then pick up a car for the second portion of their trip, once they feel more comfortable with the destination, and they're, you know, we often get that at the beginning for first-time travelers.
What is the best time, when would be the best time to travel to Ireland? Well,
we can say anytime.
Anytime.
But, you know, we don't get really extreme weather conditions either way, you know. So it is, you know, the most popular time is April through end of September, you know, but we do call the shoulder season the cozy season, and call it for a reason. So like traveling in October, November, or March and April are very, very comfortable times to travel. The pace of life slows down a little bit, there's less visitors, and you will probably get you know, better airfares, and your first choices in accommodation. You know, so there is benefit in that if you are able to travel in what we call the cozy season. You know, the colors are fantastic, and, you know, when the weather is a little bit cooler, you know, you can take advantage of those wonderful castle stays with the big open fires and everything. You know, it all lends itself to that. And of course, then you might be able to, you know, splurge on some of our beautiful woolens that you can get in Ireland and Scotland, and make use of them.
And many of our clients live here in Arizona, and as we were talking earlier, a change from this hot, crazy weather is a welcome change. So the cozy season sounds wonderful to me.
It is. Yeah.
Let's see. We also We have a question. Can I do a combination like the train and guided tours?
Yeah, absolutely. So we can add on the travel style. We can mix and match any of the travel styles. So yeah, you can do, as Catherine talked about before, you want to do a guided and pick up a car. You want to do a locally hosted and then tag on beginning or end. We can mix and match any of the travel styles for sure.
Perfect. The last question I see here, are there any non-alcoholic options available on the tours?
Oh, absolutely. And forgive me for, you know, talking about our whiskies and gins and Guinness. But of course, I did mention the cup of tea. We are, that's our most popular drink in Ireland is the cup of tea. So there are, you know, there are some wonderful opportunities to do the whole afternoon tea experience. We even have this vintage coach in Dublin where you can, you know, go on and do a city tour while having afternoon tea. There's also, you know, a wonderful afternoon tea experience over in Galway as well, in this area where they have it on one of the old railways carriages, you know, a Pullman Express. And you know, you just sit there and have this wonderful afternoon tea experience. But you know, like Sarah said, the whole tradition of food has improved so much. So you know, wherever you travel, there's lovely, wonderful local food that for everybody to enjoy.
Perfect. I do have one last question that came in. What this is kind of echoing the best season to travel. What season has the most rain? And this one is specifically in Scotland.
Well, again, you know, we laugh over here that we do get a lot of rain. That's why it's nice and green.
Yeah.
We're not called the Emerald Isle for nothing. But you know, we don't actually have a rainy season like in some destinations. You know, some days, you know, it was raining yesterday here and today was stunningly beautiful all day. You know, it's the luck of the draw. But
yeah.
you know, you could have 4 seasons in one day, and we just have a saying too, if you wait a while, the weather will change, because it changes dramatically, you know, very, very quickly.
Right. So another one came in about distilleries in Scotland. Are there a lot in Scotland to visit?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We actually, on one of our trips, it's called, what's it called, Sarah? The Spirit of Scotland. Yeah. And, you know, where we do have a bunch of different distilleries on the trip. But on some of our trips too, you know, they are suggested itineraries, and we do, you know, put a lot of different suggestions into the itineraries. You don't have to do all of them. You can choose, and your travel advisor will, of course, help you choose which ones might suit you or what ones to choose on any one particular day. You know, we just put them in there to show the breadth of product that's available, because, you know, you can have people traveling for different reasons with different likes and dislikes and different types of experiences that will, you know, enhance their trip better.
Excellent. Thank you both so much. That answers all of our questions. I so appreciate your time, especially Catherine, you being up so late.
Not at all, not at all. We love to tell stories.
I love it, and we love to hear them, especially with beautiful accents. We could listen to it today. I know I could. But thanks again, and I want to tell everybody in the audience, please visit bbtravel.com to see all of our upcoming webinars. Our September lineup is listed there, and you can register in advance. Or you can see all of our past webinars that are recorded and posted there. And this one will be posted there by Friday. So if you want to revisit it or share it with a friend, definitely go there, and you can share that video from bbtravel.com/events. So thank you again, Catherine and Sarah, and thank you to the audience. I hope that you all tune in next week.